Lucaya. President Kyle, fellow Rotarians and guests, it is truly a pleasure for me to introduce our guest speaker today. Our guest speaker is a 21-year-old communications technologies professional with a focus on advising businesses and organizations on how best to use communication technology platforms to meet their business objectives. She is a native Grand Bahamian and attended the Jack Haywood Senior High School, graduating in 2013. Some may recall her as the once aspiring songstress who sold her music CDs door to door, business to business, and on the streets on the islands and communities of Abaco, New Providence, and Grand Bahama from the age of 12. She has also performed at the Rotary Club of Grand Bahama Sunrise at the age of 14 and has been featured on Tourism Today, appearing on a number of television shows, including JCN TV, where she expressed to broadcast TV, radio, and newspaper owner and host, Wendell Jones, her desire to enter communications and would duplicate and expand on his success across the new digital medium. I remember that meeting very well because I was there, Le Rendezvous, in the bazaar, and our guest speaker, not only did she speak and sing, but she also did cartwheels along the aisles. Yes, with the mother, proud mother, just watching as well. After graduation, she was faced with the option of attending college or doing what most considered a risky decision and pursue an autodidactic, that is, self-teaching approach in what was and still is a new developing concept called digital communications using platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Google, etc., as there was no developed degree offered by any college or university. Over the last 4 years, during her self-teaching processes, she has enlisted a team that have profiled and developed the most comprehensive communication first-person contact database of digital and conventional platform users, 250,000 persons in the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos Islands. She is here today in her capacity as founder and chief executive officer of Sand Dollar Communications, a globally focused Bahamian-owned company that specializes in all aspects of communications consultancy. Sand Dollar Communications specialties include advertising, marketing, customer experience management, public relations, branding, business development services, and strategies and other media communication-oriented solutions in a single business environment. In simple terms, it is an all-in-one agency. Our company's motto is unlimited potential, immediate results, infinite possibilities. Speaking on the topic, Business Survival 101, standing out in a social media environment, President Kyle, fellow Rotarians and guests, please welcome with me our guest speaker, Miss Eden Mary Gator.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
I hope all of you are doing well. I am in every way so excited to be here with you, and I want to start by asking, are you aware of how your business communicates in this digital age? As we are all aware, or we should be aware, is that technology is changing not only what we use to communicate, but how we communicate. And this is so true, especially for businesses and entrepreneurs who seek to promote who they are and what they offer. And this understanding is what helped me to distinguish 5 multidisciplinary communication mechanisms that actually empower businesses to communicate with their audiences. And these are advertising, marketing, customer experience management, public relations, and branding. I've come to understand how these communications work best, how they work best separate and apart from each other, and how they work best in combination to each other. So when you think of what advertising is, well, Advertising is an attempt to influence your audience by just calling out at anyone who's willing to listen. So whether that's in a brief message or visual on the highway, advertising is a very brief but repeated communication. And marketing is quite different because it's actually targeted to people who show that they're interested or they're slightly interested in what it is that you offer. So these would be people who want more information, right? They go to your website or they want a brochure. And that's why marketing actually consists of more in-depth content. Because instead of just calling out at anyone, you're talking to a very specific group of people. Now, customer experience management, it refers to all aspects of your interactions with your customers. And it involves strategies that you use to track and oversee and organize every single interaction point between a customer and your business. And essentially the goal of customer experience management is to improve and optimize all of these interactions, touch points from the customer's perspective, and to improve customer loyalty. And then you have public relations, which is quite distinct because it's not about talking directly to the consumers, it is actually about talking to the people that influence them. So whether the audience that you're trying to reach, whether they read a specific magazine or they listen to a specific person, whoever influenced your audience is who you try to influence. And therefore PR is the attempt to influence your audience, but via a third-party influencer. And finally, branding. Branding is about defining who you are and what you stand for. A good brand is what gives competitive advantage. It makes you stand out and it adds value to your business. A good brand also gives a unique, it also portrays a unique visual, verbal, and cultural representation of your business in a way that your customers can connect with. So as you can see, advertising, marketing, customer experience management, public relations, and branding, these are all communications that empower you to communicate with your audiences. And furthermore, they all do very well to complement each other. And this is what led me to start Sand Dollar Communications, my very own communications agency. And what Sand Dollar Communications is it's an all-in-one agency. Some may even refer to us as a one-stop shop for all of your advertising and marketing and customer experience management, PR and branding needs. So instead of having to go to a marketing agency or a PR agency or branding agency or any other agency that only offers one or two distinct communication services, we provide all of these services conveniently within one agency. And we also design innovative solutions tailored towards bringing you rewarding outcomes. And we focus to help you thrive in this ever-expanding digital environment as we leverage your ability to communicate 24/7 across all media channels and devices. So that's just a little bit about what I do. But the gist of our conversation today is social media marketing. It's 2017, and we should all have a pretty good understanding of what social media is and how it works. But today I'll share with you how you can make your marketing worthwhile by having social media work for your business. So the most common advice you'll receive when seeking to benefit from social media marketing is that first you need to set objectives, and you need to define what your goals are, and then you need to define who your audience is, and then create a strategy, and finally you need to measure results. And all of those things are pretty important, but I'd say that the most important aspect of social media marketing comes with growth hacking. Now, before I get into that, I first want to quickly cover the benefits of having a social media presence for your business. A strong and healthy social media presence, it serves as a living, breathing extension of your brand. And it shows that your brand is active, and it shows that you're willing to engage with consumers. To a further extent, a social media presence or social media marketing has the power to increase and improve customer loyalty. Now, in terms of costs, well, you can spend hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to advertise on TV or radio or by placing ads in a newspaper. And by doing so, you won't be able to measure how your ads are working or if they're even working effectively for you. But with social media, you're able to, not only is the cost significantly less, but you're able to target over 300,000 people in the Bahamas, and you're able to target them based on their age, their gender, their location, and any other demographics that you choose to target them by. But because social media also allows us to measure how our ads are performing, you're no longer shielded from the harsh reality that was concealed by traditional advertising. And that reality is that consumers are increasingly more inclined to simply ignore your advertising. Again, technology is not only changing what we use to communicate, but how we communicate. And the world is transitioning from what I call shout marketing, and it's transitioning towards conversation marketing. So it's important that when you do decide to advertise, especially on social media, it's important for us to take a social approach and to be mindful of what works and what doesn't work. And that's the incredible thing about social media, is that it compels us to do just that. And the good news is it's quite simple to do. First and foremost, having a social media presence for your business, it requires you to post content consistently. There's nothing worse than going to a business page on social media that hasn't been updated in months or even a year. I mean, I understand that some businesses, many businesses in fact, they tend to give up because they're not getting that engagement or they're not getting that response that they desire. But the whole purpose, the main purpose of posting consistently is not to guarantee that people will automatically go to your page and like all of your posts. It's simply to show that you're there and you're active and you're willing to engage. A social media presence is what validates your business in the social community. So if you're not consistent, it could really hurt your credibility as opposed to building it. And with social media marketing, consistency is the foundation for growth. So now I'll share with you 3 types of content that you can use to start growing almost right away. The first is visual branded content. So what do I mean by that? Well, visual content would be those memes and infographics and even quotes that we often find when we're scrolling through our social newsfeed. And if you're short of coming up with these on your own, you can easily go online and find visual content that relates to your business, and you can recreate it. In fact, I like to use a free tool like Canva, where, for example, I can find a general quote that relates to my business online, and with Canva, I can use it to redesign it, maybe dress it up with my brand colors and apply my logo to it, so that when I finally do post it to my business page on social media and someone sees it and they share it, innately it increases brand awareness. The second type of content is video. And video performs the best on social media because naturally it attracts more engagement and it ranks higher in the social newsfeed. So apart from sharing your commercials on social media, you can actually use video to position yourself as a go-to resource. So think of what information your customers might find useful and create a video about it. You can even ask them to comment topics that they'd like for you to cover. And this opens the door to create dialogue and to build thought leadership and to build your audience. And once you become someone that people know and someone that people can trust, that's when it becomes easy to sell. And gradually you come to understand who your audience is, what their interests are, what challenges they face, how do they respond to certain messaging, so that when you do decide to advertise, you can do so in a way that resonates with your customers' interests. And you can be certain that when you do advertise, it'll be well received because of that relationship that you've established. Okay, the third type of content I say is quickly becoming the keystone of social media marketing, and that is user-generated content. And user-generated content is what allows your customers to become brand advocates. it empowers them to promote your business for you. So for example, instead of normally promoting your sales and your discounts for your products or services, try telling your customers that they can redeem that discount if they post a creative photo of your products with your business hashtag on social media. Or if you're a brand that supports a social cause, encourage your customers to become part of that cause by having them maybe post a photo of themselves enforcing your message in a way that they themselves can relate to. And what you'll find is that this level of authenticity is what drives higher engagement, and it increases your reach exponentially, and it can even lead to more sales. So you want to make it easy for your customers to share what it is that they love about your brand with everyone else. And that is the best kind of advertising there is. Now let's take a moment and talk about context versus content. You know, everyone thinks about content and what they're going to say, but not many really pay attention to the context of the platform that they're using. We often take one post and we share it to Facebook and Twitter and Tumblr and Instagram and Pinterest and all of these without really considering the context. Now why is that? It's because we often perceive social networks as simply another distribution channel. But I prefer to think of these, and I encourage you as well to think of these as places to natively tell stories. Consider the way you and I are interacting right now in the context of this room. It requires us to act differently than if we were in some other type of social environment, but yet we're still being ourselves. And I guess you could say it's the same with social media, because it's those subtle things, that wittiness that Twitter requires, or that beautiful, authentic photo that's so native to Instagram. Each social network provides a different means to humanize your brand in a way that's so native to that particular social community. So what's the general context of Pinterest, for example? Well, Pinterest is a place where people go for inspiration. And women actually make up the main audience there. And when you go to Pinterest, the most popular content you'll find are infographics, inspirational and funny quotes. Pinterest also features a lot of fashion and decor and do-it-yourself posts. So when a woman goes to Pinterest, does she really go there with intent to buy something? Or does she only aspire that one day she's going to have that beautiful furniture set that she pinned a photo of? See, it's all about context. So how we approach someone from that particular mindset, it needs to take on a different story from our normal approach. And here's why I specifically say story. It's because most businesses ignore the psychology of why someone is sitting there and scrolling through their social newsfeed. People don't engage on social media with intent to be marketed to. They do so to be connected. And that's why storytelling is such a powerful tactic, because everyone can relate to stories. So if you can make your product or your service the star of an authentic and compelling story, or better yet, make your customer the star and feature your product or service in it, then what you'll find is you can establish that very strong connection with your audience. Another thing too is that storytelling generates creativity in a way that makes you stand out from your competitors. And it makes it easy to remember your product or your service. In fact, every successful promotional campaign there is, they all have one universal feature, and that is they all tell a story. But there are some businesses who may wonder, well, how do you do that for boring industries? Or how do you create creative and compelling and interesting content for industries that would be considered boring? Well, I first want to clarify that there's no such thing as a boring industry, because if there's a market for your business, then there's definitely a way to create engaging and exciting content for you. I mean, yes, there are businesses who lend themselves much more easily to exciting content, but that's why storytelling is perfect for both exciting and dry industries because it gives shape and meaning to information that would normally be considered dull or boring, and it transforms it in a way that speaks to those emotions and motivations that are characteristic of the people of your industry. There's a very true quote that says, people don't buy products, rather people buy the stories that these products represent. And social networks are very fertile ground to do storytelling. So it's important to understand how to tell your story within Facebook and within Twitter and Instagram and Pinterest and Tumblr, because all of these social networks are very different, and so they allow you to tell your story in very different ways, and that's actually where the opportunity lies. Now, to actually be present on all of these social networks and maintain a consistent presence on all of them, I know it can seem like a very overwhelming task, but that's why the best approach is to focus on dominating one social platform and then gradually branch out to other ones. Another thing in terms of context is that you have to consider the platforms that your audience occupy. Your main audience may occupy Facebook and Twitter, but they may not be on Twitter, and they may not be on Tumblr. So that's why it doesn't make any sense to post on Tumblr when you have no significant reach there. That's why you should also know that the main platforms that we use in the Bahamas are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and there's another worth mentioning, and you should all be familiar with WhatsApp. So I'm going to take a few minutes to share with you how WhatsApp can be most important to your business. WhatsApp. In the US, it's predicted that mobile advertising will account for more than 72% of total digital ad spend by 2019. And here in the Bahamas, with SMS becoming more costly, the wider Bahamian audience has embraced other free alternatives for mobile messaging purposes, including WhatsApp and Facebook Messenger and the like. And because it's free and most of your customers are already using these mobile platforms, it gives you the opportunity to have 24/7 access to your customer base and to advertise to them directly. To a further extent, your customers will appreciate that they only need to send a message when they have questions or concerns, and you'll be able to respond to them in real time. Also, if you wanted customer feedback, you could easily conduct surveys, or you can use WhatsApp groups, for example, as focus groups and get the insight that you want. And you know exactly how to position your business based on that insight. So you see, this is market research at its best, and this level of personal customer experience, it used to be a luxury that most small businesses couldn't afford. And not long ago, the best means to send personalized messages was through email. But now WhatsApp and along with other mobile messaging platforms, they've all proven to be much more faster and much more direct. Not to mention, it's so much easier for someone to ignore our email, but with WhatsApp, the open rate is above 90%. So mobile users are actually willing to engage businesses, but that's only if you use these platforms correctly. The thing that makes any mobile messaging platform so powerful is that it's tied to our phones, which are extremely personal to us. So we need to keep in mind that each marketing messages that we distribute, it should reflect and respect that personal aspect. Keep in mind, this is where our customers interact with their friends and family, so trust and creativity are key to using WhatsApp effectively. I don't need to tell you that users have the power to delete your message or even block you with a single click. So again, you need to make sure that each message we send has value. Now, if you're ready to run a marketing campaign on WhatsApp, here are my 3 tips to get started. First, you need to designate a small staff or even one person who can answer any questions that your customers may have quickly. And second, you need to provide engaging content, because if you can do that, then members will share it with contacts that are outside of your group, and this will lead to more people joining your group and eventually becoming customers. The great thing about WhatsApp is that it supports rich media, so you're not limited to only sending text. You can send images, audio, video, and now WhatsApp even allows you to send catalogs. So WhatsApp is a great place to showcase your products, to do an explainer video, to highlight festive offers. And if you really want to focus on driving traffic, then I suggest creating special promo codes that your customers can share to redeem discounts. Or you can have monthly or weekly or even daily giveaways. It's up to you. But you don't want to make every conversation about making a sale. So you can switch it up by maybe providing special access to an event of yours and send live feed. Or you can send live clips of moments in your business, of special moments in your business. And if that's too much to maintain on an everyday basis, simply send a positive quote or a funny meme. Also, it's also a good idea if you want to position yourself as an expert in your field to create a tutorial or send a video that resonates with your customers' interest. I mean, there's so much you can do to show your customers that you care. With this platform, you can feel free to be creative about it. My final tip is to target groups on WhatsApp. You may offer a number of different products or services, so by creating groups that are interested in specific topics, you can target your messaging to your customer base much more effectively. Now, as I conclude, I want to quickly revisit the question that I asked at the beginning of my small presentation, and that is, are you aware of how your business communicates in this digital age? I know I've covered the different communication mechanisms and how they work. I talked about social media marketing. I mentioned context and content and storytelling. But in terms of truly being aware of how you communicate, I want you to consider this. The companies in the world that have the most powerful brands and the most creative advertising and marketing, yes, they understand messaging, and yes, they understand storytelling, but their messages don't center on them being the best in the marketplace, right? Because anyone can claim that. Anyone can claim to be the best or the greatest or the most unique or any other adjective there is. But the well-known brands that we know of, they understand, they don't center on themselves. They align themselves with what it is that their customers care about. And Nike, among other great brands, we all know about Nike, they serve as a really good example of this because they don't boast about the quality of the shoes that they sell. Instead, you see them emphasize a lifestyle. They market athleticism and even fitness in a way that their customers can connect with. And they make it their business to embody their brand with that particular image, and they convey it all with storytelling. But a lot of our communication, it's limited to what our business does. It's limited to the products or the services that we sell. And so often that's all our customers hear from us. And with so many other businesses competing to say the same thing or something similar, it all becomes noise eventually. But the brands that stand out to us, they know how to speak to their audience and not at their audience. Furthermore, they empower their customers to communicate with them and to create the narrative with them. So if you're willing to align your branding and your public image and your customer experience and your marketing and advertising in a way that not only embodies who you are, but it embodies the things that your customers care about as well, then I have no doubt that not only will you stand out from the noise, but I know for sure that you will thrive. And you know, a funny thing happens when we show people that we care, is that they in turn start to care about us. So now again, as I conclude, it would be remiss of me not to take this opportunity to extend an offer to you. One of the reasons why I started Sand Dollar Communications was not only to help businesses make money, but also to help businesses save time and money while doing so. So for those of you who have yet to embrace the social platforms that I mentioned, or you don't have an agency to put in the persistent hours that a social media presence requires for your business, then I want you to know that Standalone Communications is offering free consultation along with a few other special packages. So if you're interested to learn more about that and how you can benefit, then before we leave here today, you can provide me with your contact information. But as of now, I truly want to thank all of you for listening to me and for having me here. I hope I gave you a comprehensive view of social media marketing and how you can benefit from it. And right now, I'm open to take your questions.
What's the cost?
The cost?
Yeah, like for instance, if you, for like a company that wants to get out there, you have like a cost, would it be for your services or?
Oh, for Standalone Communications?
Yeah.
Okay, well, in terms of cost, we do offer a special for social media marketing. It's a $99 special where we would post daily to your social media page and we'll promote one unique ad campaign for you. And also, if you choose to stay with us for 12 consecutive months, naturally or automatically, if you choose, you can participate in the inaugural of our new digital magazine called Savvy Shopper, where essentially we'll feature all the sales and discounts of all the businesses in the Bahamas, and we'll distribute it directly to our mobile subscribers. As he mentioned in my biography, that we actually created a comprehensive platform that contains over 250,000 people in the Bahamas, all of their contact information. So essentially what we do is we distribute the magazine to them directly mobily, and it will feature all the sales and discounts of businesses. So if you choose to participate with us for 12 consecutive months with the social media marketing, then we'll feature your ads, all of your ads in our magazine free for 2 months. So those were the special offers. Thanks for asking, by the way. Any other questions?
What's the best platform, social media platform, to reach our market?
I would say Facebook is the best place to start. If you want to be more creative, if you want to branch out and be more creative, as I mentioned, each social platform allows you to convey your story in a different way that's so native to that particular social community.
Yeah.
But the best place to start, I would say, would be Facebook, because you can be more versatile. Whereas with Twitter, you have to be more witty with your text or with your tweets.
And does it make a difference for the target audience?
Most Bahamians are on Facebook. But if you want to really be dynamic in your, like, say, brand awareness, be more creative, because each of them can be interchangeable. It's about creating a steady presence on all of them. But I would say to start off with Facebook. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you again for having me. Hopefully I get another opportunity to come here and not only engage you about developing your business, but also to engage you about the national development of our country, and that's a conversation I look forward to having with you if you would have me back. So thanks again. Thank you so much.
On behalf of President Kyle and the Rotary Club of Lucaya, yes, Eden, we want to thank you. I know she's so hard into the social media that she got to instantly check it. Got to make sure I check. Yeah. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Lucaya, we want to thank you for your speech and your presentation, and let us know what you do for such a young person. And I'm telling you all the best to you, and good luck with your company. I just want to give you a token of appreciation from the Rotary Club of Lucaya.